Thank you. Good evening, everyone. At 11 p.m. on May 3rd, my mother, who was 77 years old at the time, Aichung Guite, my sister-in-law, 13-year-old niece, 5-year-old twin boy and girl, and 2-year-old nephew were attacked by an evil and misguided Meitei Hindu mob. They ran a few doors down to a Meitei Hindu neighbor's house to hide in his dirty, dingy storehouse. There were so many mosquitoes, my mother says. The children were so good. They did not cry or make a noise. They huddled there for over 3 hours as mayhem continued around them. They heard the sounds of stones, sticks, rocks, cars and gas cylinders bursting into flames. Angry mobs had burnt their church, a Baptist church, earlier that evening, and were attacking and burning their neighbors' houses and had turned to their house. They escaped with their lives and the clothes they were wearing, while our beautiful family home was burned and looted. The mob even came back to burn the house again the next day on May 4th. To date, over 7,000 Kuki-Zomi tribal homes have been burned and destroyed. The attack on my mother was the attack on Paiteveng in Imphal, India. In Dallas, Texas, where I live, it was 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon when my sister texted me, "Have you talked to Mom?" I had no idea. I had no idea this fight had been brewing for a while, that our people had been fighting for our people, our lives, our lands. I'm ashamed to say that if my home had not been burnt that night, I might still not have been drawn into this fight. Today is the 19th of September, 2023. It has been 139 days since this crazy evil mob attacked my family home and my mother. They burned and stole not just everything my family owned in that house, but all our books, our photo albums, our memories, our refuge, and our peace of mind. It is now 76 years since India gained its independence and formed a fledgling nation, a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Every single day, I get madder and madder at the inaction and utter ineptitude of the Indian government, and at the US and other Western governments and intergovernmental organizations for their inaction. I'm angry, frustrated, humiliated, and sad. In 139 days, over 6,500 complaints have been filed with the police. These complaints are a desperate plea by people following process and the laws of the land, while the government and the police itself are not following the rule of law and have instead allowed the rule of mob to run rampant like a virus in Manipur and throughout India. Over 300 plus people have been killed. The government of India does not acknowledge the full body count. Many bodies have not been returned to their families. Many women have been raped and gang raped. Over 360 churches have been burned and 2 synagogues. Over 60,000 people have been displaced. The Manipur State Police has allowed its arms and ammunitions to be looted by the Meitei terrorists. The Chief Minister of Manipur openly sides with the Meitei terrorists. No state, central, or international aid has reached my people. The only aid we have received is from each other, which is our tribal way, and from many good people all over the world. Those are just statistics. These are real people who have been impacted. On the evening of May 3rd, Chingboy Paipi, who is a pastor's wife in Chicago, her elderly parents, both of whom are heart patients, had to hide in the dark, in the fields, in the open fields, along with her brother and her sister's families in Imphal, because the same large Meitei Hindu mob had burned the church just next to their house. They stayed there all night and managed to walk to an army camp. in the morning. They stayed there for over a week before they were transported to safety by the Indian Army. On May 4th, Mrs. Gozavung, 57, a Manipur government officer, and her son, Mr. Golal Sang, 27, were pulled out of their car by a Hindu mob of about 200 vigilantes and beaten to death. They were trying to get to safety to an army camp. Her daughter-in-law was beaten, had to be admitted to the ICU with multiple head injuries and fractured wrists and fingers. Her daughter, sister, cousin, and a 1-year-old grandson escaped with their lives after being sheltered by a Hindu family from the mob. They escaped in the trunk of their car after a day or two had passed. On May 4th, Mr. Vungsagin Valte, a Kuki-Zomi BJP MLA and advisor to the Chief Minister of Manipur, was beaten and left to die on his way back from a meeting with the Chief Minister. His security detail abandoned him and his driver at the hands of the mob. On May 5th, Florence Hangxing and Olivia Chongloy, two Kuki-Zomi tribal Christian women working at a car wash in Imphal, were attacked, gagged, and locked in a room from 5 to 7 p.m. They were tortured and gang raped. When the room was finally opened after 7 p.m., they were dead, their bodies mutilated. The room was filled with a horrifying mixture of blood, flesh, and hair. On May 6th, Mrs. Tiandam Baipe, a 45-year-old widow and mother of two, was killed. Her head, hands, and legs chopped off. She was also burnt with her house. On June 4th, a 7-year-old Kuki-Zomi boy, Tonsing, his mother, Mina, and her friend Lydia were burnt alive in an ambulance on their way to the hospital by the mob. The mob was led by Mira Paibi women. They thought they would be safe as the mother, Tonsing's mother, Mina, is a Meitei woman. On June 10th, Mrs. Dimkohoi, 65, was shot dead while she was praying inside her village church. She was among the 3 shot by Meitei militants wearing Manipur police uniforms and armored vehicles. On July 2nd, Mr. David Teek Mar, 30 years old, was one of 3 people captured. His 2 friends were released, but because he belongs to the Mar tribe, which is one of the tribes under the Kuki umbrella, he was tortured and beheaded. His hands and legs were chopped off. His head was displayed on a bamboo fence. His body parts were thrown into a burning building. The killers posted a video of the severed head on social media with a voice in the background commenting, "This is the face of a Kuki. You look beautiful. You look beautiful. We've been trying to catch you people for a long time." The voice ended with an expletive. On July 6th, Mrs. Don Ngaiching, 62, was shot and killed outside a school in Imphal. She was mentally ill, often seen wandering the streets of Imphal, and had refused to leave Imphal feeling she was safe. She was not. On July 19th, a video surfaced of 2 Kuki-Zomi women being paraded naked, molested, and gang raped on May 4th by Meitei mob. These women and their families had run to the police for refuge, but the police handed them over to the mob. The young brother of one woman was beaten to death while trying to protect his sister. The husband of the other woman is an Indian Army officer. My name is Florence Nianghoihlun Lo. I'm a daughter of the Guite clan. The Guite clan belongs to the Paite tribe. The Paite are one of the Zo community tribes, the ones they're calling Kuki. We are Zo, Kuki, Thado, Paite, Mar, Gangte, Vaipe, Simte, and a few more tribes. We ask for peace and justice and to be allowed to practice our religion and our customs without persecution. We ask for our right to self-determination and self-governance without fear of mob vigilantism or discrimination and attacks from our own government officials. We are so united. Thank you, Wissam.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Khuraijam Athoba, and I am a Meitei, the so-called Meitei Hindu that people around here are talking about. So as this is a platform of United Nations, I think everyone has a right to know the real facts and the truth that we need to address what's happening in Manipur. And I've been listening to all the panel members who have been narrating the stories, and I won't narrate on rhetorics. I will come out with facts and figures and digitally proved records and data which nobody can't manipulate in any ways. So first of all, when we talk about the Hindu majority issues, we as a Meitei in Manipur is not a majority. For the rest of India, it's a different case. When it comes to northeastern states of India, Meitei is not a majority anymore. We represent hardly around 8.5 lakhs population. And the Christians in Manipur is around 12 lakhs. They comprise of around more than 53-54%.
Sorry,
and Meitei
I don't want
is
to interrupt you, but if you could just be as short as possible. We still have 3 minutes for the room.
No,
so
but
if you could
we need to clarify the facts, because
As
if you are
fast as
narrating in the
possible.
wrong context, we need to check it out. Or shall we go on with the wrong facts? We continue this debate and discussion. What's your intention then? We need to check it out. Number one, the religious card is never an issue in the Manipur violence, because Meitei never targeted Christians. Meitei also has a Christian population of around, which is 45% of what the Kuki populations are, Meitei Christians. And they missed to inform that Meitei churches are being completely vandalized and razed in the Kuki-dominated areas in Churachandpur, right on the first day before the target began in Imphal.
Okay, sir.
That needs to be acknowledged.
Thank you. Thank you
And
for
here is
sharing.
the sequence of events.
I would be grateful if we can meet after this and take the document and have the conversation.
Sure.
But if you don't have any more questions,
let
I
me
would
sum
need
up.
to interrupt you because we have 2 minutes before we need to close this event, and I need to give the final word to this panel. So I need to interrupt you just because we have 1 more minute, the lady from the United Nations, so we have to basically conclude the event.
Yes,
Thank
last part.
Thank
Last
you for
question.
sharing. No,
Last question.
we will meet after the event.
But
and we
allow
will
me,
take the
let the
document.
audience know. Let the audience know.
Yes,
Why are we
because we
completely
need to have
neglecting the issue of
concluding-
narco-terrorism?
We need to have the
The UN
concluding-
Odyssey has already reported Churachandpur has become a hub of new golden triangle.
Okay.
Poppy cultivations has
we need
already.
to have the concluding remarks from the panel and conclude the
Yeah,
event.
before that we need to know the facts. That's why I'm trying to intervene.
Thank you, and we would welcome this. It's just that
It's completely one-sided discussion, so I don't want it. It should be neutral.
we are not a one-sided discussion.
Then you should have the
a lot
patience
of
to
the
listen to
facts
me.
were presented thoroughly, and there's a lot that we can provide after this event. Thank you.
Almost
So
19
I
Meitei
would
villages.
I would like now
19
to-
Meitei villages completely 100% evicted, destroyed.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. Can you switch off the microphone, please? So I would like us to finish because we just finished the time for our event and for the time allocated to have this room. I'm grateful for the panel for having shared with us and for your contribution. I've been following personally as the World Evangelical Alliance very closely what is happening in India and Manipur and elsewhere. I'm very grateful for what you shared with us and what you provided. What our hope is that India would grow into a more democratic, inclusive society and community where the government is supportive and protective of all the religious minorities and all the ethnic minorities and everyone in India. And yet again, I want to appreciate the panel for being here, for sharing, and for all the members of our coalition representing various communities, religious and ethnic communities, for being part of this event. And again, once again, thank you for Ms. Al-Salim, and thank you also for Mr. Turkel, who were present with us and shared with us on the situation in India. Thank you so much, and until the next event, God bless you.